you go term limit, in our view, you control both the young and the old. But a conversation as to the return of age limit is important. Let's have it and then see whether we need both or one of them. So mere dismissing either or, for me, is an act of cowardice. If we want to change this country, leaders, political leaders and actors and pretenders must at least have the courage to speak about very controversial issues, including the ones I've mentioned. But simply running away from them and saying, no, that's not possible. No, for us, we're just ready for an election. Which election? So we would like to invite serious political leaders to rise to the occasion, run away from their cowardice, and speak about these issues with courage. That these are the issues that we need to see be acted upon in these times. I talked about the critical amendments in the executive, dropping a vice president to go for deputy president. I talked about those issues hitherto. I don't want to bore you with that conversation. I talked about the downsizing of parliament from the current bloated 550, 59 or thereabout, to reduce the size of parliament by a third. Can we have that conversation? Is there any sane citizen who can say that that parliament can even be enlarged? In the current framework, actually, we are destined to expand the size of parliament by an extra 50 MPs. I want to inform the country that there is an ongoing process to enlarge parliament with an additional 50 members of parliament.
Sure.
For me, that's a crime against citizens.
Shame.
So can we have a national conversation as to how this parliament can be downsized? So when we discuss devolution, we cannot be discussing devolution and expansion in the same statement. Okay? We agree. If we want to devolve, then we must have some MPs can become councillors in their areas and influence local issues. I'm not trying to really downplay their quality. No. You are not any less of quality because you're a councillor. You're a leader of your people. Some MPs can become governors of their communities. Who knows that his guarantee is going to be in the next parliament? So I'm speaking generally about myself and everyone else. That is the courage we need from our leaders. Not simply, appetite to participate in elections regardless of their consequences. Time must come when we, without contradiction, speak about the possibilities and the impossibilities. So I'm now telling you that if nothing is done, the next parliament will be 600 and more. Remember, the structure of our economy is increasingly becoming narrow and narrow. So we have increasingly more mouths to feed and a lot more appetite than the resources at our disposal. So must we expand, political offices, or we need to really expand the framework for service provision in the country. So I have mentioned the acts put before Parliament, including the Presidential Elections Act for amendment, the Parliamentary Elections Act for amendment, Law Government Act for amendment, the political parties and other organizations act for amendment. Critically, what we are targeting as the DA in the Political Parties Act, the way it was framed, it was actually enacted in bad faith. Political parties, for example, are almost incapable of forming a registered coalition. I have had comrades in the other political platforms talk about their willingness to work with the others. You cannot register that kind of arrangement.